You know what, folks? Had some audio issues, a little bit of echo here and there. We're aware of it, so we're looking into it. Hopefully it is fixed, but apologies about that. But as we were saying, it's kind of time to get into the gameplay, right? People have been waiting. We got 32 brand new cards for Descent of Dragons to unveil right now. So, Shocky, we're going to wait for you to go ahead and friendly challenge us. We got our first matchup. We got Dragon Druid versus Galakrond Rogue. It's going to be spicy. So we'll wait and see if Shocky can get the one up on me for Reno. We'll see.
He's going to have the Galakrond. He's probably going to win, I guess. But at least we'll play slowly enough to show every single new card, and hopefully Shocky will lose his patience for the next few shows.
I believe it here.
Shocky is pretty ruthless in playtesting.
I've seen that in the past.
He doesn't really let me play all my cards all the time.
He's not going to have a choice.
Okay. So we have Breath of Dreams. Which is pretty sick. That is essentially a very powerful wild growth. So I would keep that.
Okay.
Outside of that, I'll leave it up to you.
We have the Cobalt Spellkin too. Add 1-cost spells from your class to your hand. What can we expect for Druid from that?
I mean, it's really like Claw, Savagery. There's a bunch more of them. I think Claw is the one that's it's been seen in some Druid decks in the past. Like getting a couple claws in your hand is something that you'd be pretty happy with.
It's 5, but it's a dragon. It's a ramping of 4.
Yeah.
Let's give it a try.
Okay.
Let's give it a try.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, we're just playing all new cards.
Yeah, I mean,
whenever we see a new card, there we go.
We're about to see exactly one cost we might give. So that's pretty good for us, actually.
It's like a fairy dragon, roughly twice as big.
Right. Yeah. So I think that especially in the Druid deck, like if you're going to be playing a whole bunch of dragons that are going to be pretty high cost, and you're going to have cards that say if you're holding a dragon, you still want some stuff to do in the early game, but we're gonna ramp in pretty well.
Yeah. So we're gonna do Breath of Dreams. Draw a card if you're holding a dragon. Gain an empty mana crystal.
We're holding mini dragons.
You really need to be holding dragons, but it's interesting with draw cards. So if you're actually in top deck mode and you really need an actual card in your hand, it actually achieves the purpose. You're going to get an actual card in your hand.
It helps a lot. And then also, I think we might have also got a new card here.
Both players draw a card. If it's a dragon, summon it. Yes. People really need to be playing dragons.
If your deck is jam-packed with dragons, and this is something that you maybe put in it, at the very least, it's 6 mana, 5/5 draw card for you. It draws a card for your opponent, obviously, but there's some potential there. If your deck is jam-packed with dragons,
well, you also get the effect. I'm sure a lot of dragons they are meant to be played and not summoned.
Yes.
So there could be some, counterplay, kind of like the dirty rat of old.
Yeah.
All right. I think we should just do this. I mean, reduce the cost of dragons in your deck by 2. I think we want to do that as fast as possible. We got Frizz here.
Yeah, we're against a rogue who has like a ton of removal options, stuff like backstab and eviscerate and stuff like that. So Feywing's usually pretty good in this circumstance, but because we have so many dragons in our hand, I think Frizz is probably still the right call.
There we go. Now, I'm thinking that the rogue playing a Galakrond deck, it's probably going to have a lot of lackey-related cards because the rogue Galakrond power is to get a lackey, is it not?
Yes. So I think like a card like Togwaggle, for example, is probably going to be in the rogue deck because if you're invoking a bunch of times, then you're probably going to be getting a bunch of lackeys.
And a card like Spirit of the Shark.
Yes.
Oh, here's a pretty fair one. Big Old Whelp. Normally cost 5, but we got a discount, so it's a 3-cost 5/5 draw card.
It's probably Spellkin, even though I don't know. Actually, Whelp is the bigger card, obviously, and we don't necessarily need a ton of resources. The more mana efficient thing to do is probably to play Spellkin, but
I think we should play a Spellkin.
All right.
I'm thinking that because we really just need to kill the shark next turn, and being a 3/5 or a 5/5, it's about the same.
Yeah, and there's the Claw, as we were talking about earlier, and Worthy Expedition is actually one of the cards that gets played a lot in Druid, mostly as a result of being part of the quest deck.
Now, some classes are not going to have that many one-drop spells, so it being a neutral card, the Cobalt Spellkin, you're probably going to be able to get a lot of specific cards consistently.
Yeah, there's a lot of one-cost spells. For most classes, it's still pretty varied. Like, I think when people are talking about Spellkin first, they're mostly talking about it in the context of Mage and being able to play stuff like Mana Cyclone and generating, a whole bunch of spells.
And you get to see the Galakrond that he has. So he played Praise Galakrond, give him 1 attack, and Invoke Galakrond. A lot of these Galakrond cards are not like particularly powerful on their own, but obviously if you're playing Galakrond, there's a good chance you want to include all of them in your deck, I imagine.
Yes. I think the thing that we're going to want to do for sure is kill the Spirit of the Shark. And
yes.
Outside of that, it's probably Grapple Sniper.
Think so?
I think so. I think that we try to just do it.
All right, now, I haven't seen the cards we're about to reveal. What are the chances that we get a Rush card versus our opponent getting a Taunt Dragon? We need some odds here. Do the math. You're the dev.
Low.
Let's do it.
Very low. Like, the chances that our opponent gets a dragon is... See, this is the kind of thing...
We got a dragon.
Right.
We celebrate this.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually... Like, you look at the 401, and I think the first reaction is like, well, obviously Twilight's a lot better with the Battle Cry, but it's not really a terrible outcome. Obviously, we'd rather have a different dragon, if not that one.
Well, we do get to hit him for 4.
Yes. Yeah, he's most likely going to dagger it.
All right. Yep, he's just invoking Galakrond. Devoted Maniac. I think this is one of the first cards that was revealed. 4 for a 2/2 rush. Not very good stats for that amount, but again, invoking Galakrond for Rogue, you get lackeys, and those lackeys turn those small statted cards into fair statted cards sometimes.
Yeah, the 4-mana CC Rush is actually one of the cards that in playtesting filled out a lot of the Galakrond decks. I think that you can expect to see that card in most Galakrond decks, at least the ones that are really trying to get to the maximum power level Galakrond.
Wow. Evasive Worm. Now, this is a 6-cost card.
Yeah,
We played
not 4 cost.
No, we've discounted all of the dragons in our deck by 2. I think at 4 cost it would be rather strong.
Yes, it would be too strong, I think.
They were going to play this.
Yes. It's pretty similar to something like Argent Commander, but it has Rush and a little bit more stats, and obviously like can't be targeted is a pretty big deal.
It's also a dragon.
Yes. Most of the cards in this deck are going to be dragons for sure.
I'm thinking we just play stats right now.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have drawn a card first, but I was too eager to play the new cards.
That's good. I think we're in the right mindset if we're playing the new
And
cards.
if we hit the opponent for 4 with our dragon, we're just going to keep lowering his hit points as much as
A
possible.
rogue is not really that good at gaining a bunch of hit points.
No.
So
You do gain 5 off the Galakrond, which you know he's playing.
we do, but if he's playing 7 mana and gain 5, that's not really going to be enough.
All right, let's see what our next turns might include here. Scale Rider, 3 cost, 3/3. If you're holding a dragon, deal 2 damage. So very similar to SI7. It's kind of like a neutral SI7 that's easier to pull off, but you have to be playing dragons.
Yeah, and a lot of...
There's a lot of you have to be playing dragons in the game right now.
Yes.
Well, on the 10th.
I think holding a dragon is... It's not really too difficult historically to trigger. It's like you don't need a ton of dragons in order to trigger, like, if you're holding a dragon cards, which is different than, like, Grapple Sniper, where you obviously want tons and tons and tons of dragons in your deck. But you can get by with, I think, if you have 4 or 5, if you're holding a dragon trigger, you can get by really on having 6, 7 dragons in your deck, and that's just sort of fine. Because as soon as you draw first, like, if we draw our Twin Tyrant, for example, we can sit on that for most of the game and still trigger most of our cards.
So we can see that, is this the Galakrond that just became? Or is this the next stage? I think he's only invoked twice.
Yes. So I'm pretty sure he's only invoked twice. So
Yes.
he now has the access to the level 2 Galakrond.
Which is draw 2 cards, they cost 0.
Yes.
Oh, draw 4 cards.
The third level Galakrond.
The third level is the one we give you a claw.
Draw 4 cards.
He's not there yet.
Did he play 4?
No, I thought he played 2.
Because I know he played Praise Galakrond, but
Grapple it.
Okay, we have to grapple.
Easy grapple. You also get to force the draw out of your opponent.
Another dragon.
So
not a dragon.
You might mill him too.
Yeah, we might.
That's my favorite part of the game.
Yes, mill decks are not generally something that I think that we're like very excited about being the best decks in the game.
I'm very excited about being the best decks in the game.
If it's something that you can play in a strategy that you enjoy, then like sure.
Maybe we'll see a new card here. Oh, what's this?
Strength in Numbers. It's the side quest. I'm not actually sure if that one's been revealed yet or not. I think it has.
Spend 10 mana on minions rewards. Summon a minion from your deck. Well, the minions in our deck are large dragons.
Yes.
So except for Twilight Drake, which we already got.
Yeah, I think like even at this point in the game, I think that one of the things about like low mana cards is generally they're not super good in the late game. But with Strength in Numbers, it's pretty easy to trigger late. Because I mean, like if you just imagine next turn we play Strength in Numbers and Twin Tyrant, we're already like most of the way there.
The idea is always going to be you can't easily, of course you can with Innervate or something like that, you can't easily play the quest and complete it on the very same turn. But a lot of the other quests you can, for example. I know the Mage quest, I believe, is only 8 mana worth of spells, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so you can do that in the same turn if you want. Not really in the early game, but you can do it in the same turn later on.
Well, where do you think Chalky's at here? Because
I think our opponent is dead. There's not a lot.
we played constant dragons with stats.
Yeah.
Good stats and good effects.
He's going to try, though. Keaton's a pretty good Hearthstone player, but I don't know if he's good enough to get out of the situation he's in right now.
Where do you see dragons in the metagame? Do you consider dragons kind of like a mid-range playstyle or deck? That's kind of how they appear to me, but I'm kind of curious.
It depends. I think specifically for Druid, it's both mid-range and control deck, because like you can curve out like pretty big dragons in the game on turn 8 and turn 9. But also if you're playing versus like a heavy control deck that's removing your first few dragons, you have cards like Ysera that are really good in terms of like resource generation for late game. So it can do both. It's just going to struggle versus the things that are like very, very aggressive oriented, especially if you're not having like Breath of Dreams on turn 2.
Do you think it's important that we show a Mist Lethal to Chalky here? I think it is. I think we're going to use Claw to remove a 1/1 because I really want to see the battle cry effect of Twin Tyrant.
I think this is actually unless it's fixed. Yeah. No, so there's actually a visual bug right now with Twin Tyrant where eventually it's going to fire the Fiery Bolt, and I think it's going to fire a Frosty Bolt.
Oh!
But for now, there's a visual bug where it's only throwing the 1 bolt.
Okay.
So we're going to get that. We're going to get that fixed.
I imagine I'm going to be playing this card a lot in Arena. I don't know about Constructed, because for 8, you really have to be pretty picky for cards in Constructed. Yeah. But this is an outstanding Arena card.
Yes. Oh, wow. You got us.
That's how you remove the card that can't be targeted.
That's how you flick. Flick is actually a pretty cool card too. It was one of the ones that in playtesting that we were going over. It's like, is the power level or something?
Well, we drew 10 cards.
Wow, congratulations.
Look at you. We got gold. All right, for the folks at home, apologies about the technical issues. We got it figured out. We had a little bit of audio echo, as you could tell, so apologies about that. But you know what? We're getting to the cards in the gameplay. Let's jump into the collection manager, that Dragon Druid deck. Let's not hit the other ones just yet. Looks like I think we missed 2 cards, one of them in Druid and then one of them in Rogue. Let's see if you can spot the one that we missed.
What is the one it's not?
Yep.
Oh, is it this guy?
That's it. Wing Commander. Yep.
4 for a 2/5, has 2 attack for each dragon in your hand. I mean, that's a pretty well-statted card, but that's a lot of information you might be giving to your opponent.
Yeah. I think this is one of those cards where most of your dragons are going to be like fairly high-cost cards. So this is something that fills out some of like the earlier stages of the game where you can play it and still be fighting for board and have, a bunch of like high-cost dragons in your hand. It mitigates the, I drew Ysera and I drew Ysera and I drew Alexstrasza and I drew Twin Tyrant. It's like, okay, well, I'm at least getting a bonus for having all of these like really high-cost things in my hand.
If you have 1 dragon, it's still a Yeti.
Yeah,
in my game mode, that's still pretty good.
Okay, I think people make those comparisons a lot. Where it's like not a lot of people just put Shaman Yeti in their next game. I remember those days fondly. Like I think a lot of people on stream probably.
Yeti made it to the World Championship.
Yeah,
gotta respect Yeti.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. There's a lot less sets back then. There's none.
It's still pretty fair. Classic. Like Yeti's still pretty fair. Yeah, it fights for the board okay.
You're not really sad to play. Yeah. A 4-mana 4/5, especially if like you know that you're going to scale into late game and you're just looking for things to fight for board.
If you have 2 dragons, it's quite solid. 6/5 for 4. Yeah. If you have 3 dragons, it's fighting for mountain giants, right?
It's pretty good. The more dragons you have in your hand, obviously.
Yeah.
But the more dragons you have in your hand, the more that kind of infers that you kind of don't have much to play on probably turn 5, turn 6. Like there's more like 4 and 5, 6 cost dragons these days, but still, most of them are pretty high cost.
Evasive Worm. Think we'll see a lot of this one?
I think especially in decks it's more so in decks that have, if you're holding a dragon, triggers, and they're just trying to fill. It's like, okay, I need more dragons in my deck in order to fill this out. Because Evasive Worm is like, it's a pretty reasonable removal card on its own, but I don't think it's something that you're going to see in decks that aren't trying to take advantage of dragon synergies as much.
I was curious. Okay, so we didn't actually get to see it played, but obviously we announced Ysera Unleashed pretty early on with Descent of Dragons. Thoughts on the card, Crip? How you feeling about that? Seven dragons in your deck that get summoned. Pretty spicy.
That is pretty spicy. I believe you get the Dream Portals, however. So there is a cost, because if you look at the rest of the deck has a lot of draw your next card. If it's a dragon, play a minion from your deck. But the portals, I believe, are spells. So it kind of challenges the flow of the deck a little bit. I think the idea with Ysera Unleashed is it's like your final drop. It's kind of like a Chef Nomi type of play, where if you have very few cards left, you don't quite have to have 0. It's a full dragon board. So I think that's the idea, and it's certainly pretty exciting. I mean, I imagine we still have quite a few dragons to see in this stream.
You know, maybe a couple here and there.
Yeah, you can play Ysera pretty late. You can play Ysera pretty late. One of the things that sometimes happens, like you'll play games where you'll have Breath of Dreams, then you'll play Frizz Kindle Roost, and then you'll end up playing Ysera on turn 7. And that's the kind of thing that like really starts to snowball a game, because then you start drawing portals, and then you can start drawing more dragons. That was in one of the playtest games that I had with Keaton, actually, when I was playtesting Dragon Druid. A lot of the games, ended up with having turn 7 Yseras, and that ended up being like pretty powerful.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, summoning dragons from your deck's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Okay, we have one more card. Let's go ahead and search at the bottom so we don't reveal any other cards from the stream. It is Bloodsail Flybooter.
Oh, a small minion.
No, it's a rogue card, I imagine.
Yes, that is correct. Sorry, I should have specified. Boom.
1 cost 1/1 battle cry. Add 2 1/1 pirates to your hand, which I imagine have no abilities.
We'll ask Mr. Dean Ayala.
It's the pirate swarm. They're pretty fly for some pirate guys.
Gotta love that flavor text.
That one, yeah.
You guys really get a kick out of these.
We do, yeah.
Okay.
We really enjoy writing the flavor text.
Did you write that one, Dean?
I didn't, no.
Okay.
I'm not funny enough to write flavor text.
Okay. That had to be like Chad or like Toad.
It had to be someone funny, yeah.
Okay.
But
So the idea is just swarm with a bunch of 1/1s. Are there perhaps more pirate synergies we can expect to see?
maybe. I think with Bloodsail Flybooter, one of the things that's really cool is that you can play it on turn 1 and then you can swarm a bunch of minions, but I think like Rogue tends to like to play with combo a lot, and this is one of the things that pretty easily activates that. You can play this on turn 1, and then, as you know, with like when you have a bunch of lackeys in your hand, it becomes a lot easier to trigger like your SIs and your other lackey generators and that sort of thing. So this card's going to help you do that. It reminds me a little bit of Firefly. It's like a little bit different flavored. It's a pirate, obviously, and you add a bunch of cards to your hand, so it's good to stuff like Edwin and stuff as well. Probably not as good just on its own as something like Firefly, but there's a lot of similarities there.
Sure. Yeah. Well, cool. Gentlemen, we got some more games to get to. So the decks were a little bit out of order. We got Galakrond Shaman, so that's the deck that we're going to be playing. We're going to be going up against Pure Paladin. So let's back out. Chalky, whenever you're ready. We're ready for that friendly challenge. We'll see if Galakrond Shaman can take on the Pure Paladin. So, Crip and Dean, continue to take it away, gentlemen.
This is the hype moment. We have not seen the Shaman Galakrond card. So the instant that we play even an Invoke card,
we're going to find out.
We're going to reveal it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty interesting because the Invoke cards triggering the Galakrond hero powers, it puts all the context to what we can do with Shaman in the next expansion here.
Yep. I think Keaton's actually playing one of the decks that I think is pretty powerful in the next set as well. So here it looks like we already
Invoke Galakrond twice.
You can actually see in the tooltip what that's
I missed it.
Too.
Invoke Shaman. Use Galakrond's power. Summon a 2/1 elemental with Rush. Wow, that card's amazing.
Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite invokes just because it's a lot different than the rest of them. I think even the warrior one gives you attack, which is kind of tempo oriented, but
you get to keep the card in this one.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you have to react to something else. Like with these invokes, like say for example the 4-mana 2/2 that has Rush and invokes. Well, that's a 4-mana 2/2 with Rush and also summons a 2/1 with Rush. So it's actually like
Well, I kind of want to keep one of them. I don't know if I should keep two of them. That's kind of a lot to keep. We also have the Surging Tempest, which is a premium statted 1-drop. 1 for a 1/3. It's an elemental. And you get 1 attack when you have overloaded mana crystals. We've seen this as a trigger, I believe, on at least one other Shaman card.
I think so, yeah. And then Storm's Wrath is pretty
There
sick.
you go.
Yeah.
Give your minions +1/+1. Overload 1. Now, I believe we had a Druid card that did exactly this without the overload, but seemingly overload can be an advantage now.
It can be an advantage, and then also, I think Mark of the Lotus is the Druid card. Mark of the Lotus is one of the most powerful cards, I think, in Hearthstone history.
Is it?
There's some room, I think, to be a little bit less powerful than Mark of the Lotus and still be pretty powerful. There's another dragon, it looks like we've got.
We got Nithog.
Yeah.
We have seen this card.
Yep.
I'm kind of curious how reliably these eggs will actually hatch, but I guess if they don't, still all right.
Yeah, it's
you
still
absorb
fine.
quite a bit of damage.
If you absorb 6 damage, like it's pretty hard to deal with something that comes down on turn 6, and it's basically like 11 health of stuff you have to deal with, especially in a deck that's playing like
New
more
side quest.
tempo
New side quest. Righteous Cause. Summon 5 minions. Reward. Give your minions +1/+1. Not too bad.
I think it's actually pretty good. We're gonna find out how Jockey here is gonna use that.
Okay, so what we can do is play the Sandstone Elemental to clear off his Glowtron.
Yeah.
Or we can do nothing and coin the Thunderhead next turn. I think I'm going to clear it.
Yeah, I think that's probably best. Like, our deck is a Galakrond deck. We've got some like higher cost stuff. We already have Nidhogg in our hand, so I think just being able to survive. And judging that, like, he's playing a side quest that gives all of his minions 1/1, so I think that what we can gain from that is he's probably going to be summoning a lot of minions in his deck.
I would hope so. Now, the other thing is, even though we see the Galakrond hero power, we don't get to see what the Shaman Galakrond battle cry is until we actually play one of these cards. So I'm thinking I'm going to save a coin for one of those. I think we're going to do a totem, and then just on 4, we're going to coin out the Corrupt Elementals just for the instantaneous reveal. Okay, we also have Skyclaw. So it's 3 for a 1/2. Your other mechs have +1 attack. Battlecry, summon 2 microcopters, and the microcopters are 1/1 mechs.
But they're kind of 2/1 mechs, because as long as Skyclaw's in play, you can obviously, like in this situation, you can remove Skyclaw and then make a value trade here.
I think we're going to do that. Now this is a bit of a new archetype, the minion spamming Paladin. It seems like it has some direct synergy already with these cards and the side quest. Let's see if we can see a little bit more here.
Okay, there is a 4-mana card in this deck that's pretty powerful. That was not it.
No.
But Skyclaw itself is actually pretty powerful.
But I mean, Skyclaw stacks his Skyclaw, and he has the Righteous Cause triggering there.
Yeah,
that's quite a lot to deal with.
That was a pretty powerful turn. I think Skyclaw is going to be one of the ones that obviously works really well with the side quest, just because it summons so many minions.
Okay. Now, we either can choose to try to win, or we can choose to see Galakrond faster. I'll make the decision for you.
Okay.
All right, let's see it. Shaman Galakrond. It's time. What is the battle cry effect? We get 2 invokes, so we're immediately phase 2 Shaman Galakrond. And the battle cry is summon storms with rush. But it looks like they scale up. So summon 2 storms with rush is the base card, and we've already upgraded to summon 2 4/4 storms with rush. I imagine the ultimate version is summon 2 8/8 storms with rush.
You summon 2 8/8s with rush, and then you also, of course, just like the rest of the Galakrond minions, or the Galakrond hero cards, you equip a 5/2 weapon as well. So the Galakrond Shaman, I think, is a little bit more tempo-oriented. You're summoning a whole bunch of minions. I think that there's been a lot of circumstances where you use the Galakrond Invoke to be effective as removal, because obviously the minions have rush. But because the minions stick around, even when you play on an empty board, you can play it in a deck that has cards like Storm's Wrath in it, and just use those minions to sort of beat down your opponent, and then just in the game, really, with these like giant rush creatures.
There's quite a huge rush theme to this expansion. We see Hunters getting a lot of synergy with rush, a lot of rush cards. We see Warrior getting some more rush cards.
Yeah.
And now all of Galakrond Shaman is rush.
Yeah.
I guess you guys really like the rush mechanic.
We do, I think. So there's a new card here, right?
Freeze an enemy, invoke Galakrond. So we get to choose. We also have 10 mana. So that's not bad. I think we're gonna freeze, and I would like to play this card, and then I would like to play this card. It's gonna be a full board.
Yeah, the eggs don't get too big of a benefit from being +1/+1, but because
they'll stick around a lot more likely here. Now we're gonna float a little bit of mana here, but I think it's time to go face.
Paladin's gonna struggle to deal with this because really there's only what, like one thing.
The eggs can attack. Interesting.
Very.
All right. So I think the idea is here that we're just going to get these eggs to go off, and we just deal with the board next turn. We'll get to invoke Galakrond again with a Devoted Maniac. So Devoted Maniac, you said, is actually in a lot of decks. I can't imagine in this deck you get a 2/2 rush and a 2/1 rush, and you get the invoke effect.
Impurity will not be tolerated.
There's a new card. Light Forged Crusader. 7 cost, 7/7. The battle cry: if your deck has no neutral cards, add 5 random Paladin cards to your hand. No neutral cards.
That's why the deck is called Pure Paladin.
Pure Paladin. I see. Paladin doesn't have to dirty itself with those neutral cards. It can stay pure to the cause of playing Paladin cards.
That is the idea, yeah.
Amazing. All right. So we got Surging Tempest.
So I don't think that we can kill our opponent here.
No, I'm pretty sure we can kill our opponent here. I'm pretty sure it's... Oh, he, what is the card? He subdued our Nithog. That's right. That's where we lost the lethal. I'm kind of thinking we just throw everything that can go face into face, though.
Yeah, and then we just take out the dragon and see what happens, and hope our opponent doesn't play Nozari.
Maybe we'll sacrifice 1 damage here. Nozari. Nozari is the dragon that we got earlier this year that fully heals both players. Not looking forward to that in this game. But there are a lot of ways to actually discover dragons, to generate dragons nowadays. That a card like that is probably going to see a lot of play, even if it's not included in a lot of these decks. I think we just go all in.
Yep.
Fill the board. This is very Shaman.
It is, yeah. Shaman is just generally known for, like Bloodlust is probably, I would argue, like one of the most iconic Shaman cards. And that's kind of the kind of card that might go in this deck too.
Well, Bloodlust is one of the most iconic Shaman-related things in the Warcraft universe. So
Shaman is one of those classes that is kind of a struggle a little bit to design for, because just thematically what Shamans do is they're naturally kind of like the jack of all trades class. So when you have a class that kind of does everything, then that can present some problems sometimes, but that is thematically kind of what they're about.
New card, Light Forged Zealot. 4 for a 4/2 battle cry. If your deck has no neutral cards, equip a 4/2 True Silver Champion. Oh, that's quite the reward.
Yes, yeah, it's really, really insane. It's the reward for deck building. It's pretty similar to the no duplicates cards like Reno, for example. It's like the rewards maybe not as crazy.
Troll Batrider. That's a new one.
Yeah.
Deal 3 damage to a random enemy minion. So it's not your opponent's face. It's a random enemy minion. That's very strong, I feel.
Yeah, you can depend on it to actually kill me. I think some people would view that as downside, and I think there's a lot of circumstances where you want to go face, but there's also a lot of circumstances where you don't want to deal with the randomness. You'd rather just be able to...
I want to play Galakrond. Where's my Galakrond?
You won 2 times.
Well...
Yeah, we may have to come back to a Shaman game later, because Galakrond wasn't shown. I was also watching, I was like, huh.
Well, we went over some of the stuff, so we know what Galakrond does, we know what the invoke stuff is, but playing him is...
He's a cool guy.
I want to play Galakrond.
He's the big boy.
I want a world-first non-dev Galakrond.
Me too.
I know.
All right, well, we'll probably come back. Let's wait till the end. Yep. Maybe we can jump in a quick game with Chalky. Maybe he'll be okay with it, and then we'll come back to it. But let's jump to the collection manager. Cool. Hey, we got quests. Well, that's good. It's good to know. Looks like we only missed 1 card from that deck, so let's jump in the Galakrond Shaman deck.
Well, let's take a quick look at Galakrond, if you don't mind.
Let's go. Please. Absolutely.
There you go. Galakrond the Tempest. Summon 2 storms with Rush, and the hero power becomes 2/1 elemental with Rush. I don't believe there are any elemental synergies off of a hero power at this point in time. Oh, there is. There's the elemental of 2 attack.
Oh yeah,
8 cost.
Yeah, that card I think is maybe not the power level it might need to be in order to be in this deck. But just the rush mechanic in general attached to this Galakrond just makes it really, I keep sort of repeating myself, but it's really good for removal, and it's also really good for just minions to stick around on the board, which is both, it's good for being able to survive and also being able to kill your opponent. So pretty powerful effect.
Yeah. How do you feel about this Galakrond in comparison with the other ones? That is the new one. That is the new one. You can answer my question later. Let's focus on the new card, Dragon's Pack. What do you think?
Summon 2/3 Spirit Wolves with Taunt. If you've invoked twice, give them +3/+3. That's a lot of stats to give them.
Yeah, 5 mana, summon 2 5/6s with Taunt.
So the Frost Wolves, they come off of a 3-cost spell that traditionally has seen play, but I think maybe has fallen off in the last year or so.
Yeah, it's still a card that's like fringe in a lot of Shaman decks, even today, which is pretty good, since Shaman decks can be pretty powerful.
Yeah. Giving them +3/+3, they're 5/6 taunts. 2 5/6 taunts if you've invoked twice. You also do not overload. So the Frostwolf total mana cost is 3 plus the 2 overload. This is 5 total. You got to pay it up front, so you can't just cheese your opponent out of the game immediately on turn 3. You have to wait the full turn count. But if you've invoked twice, that is extremely powerful. And if you haven't, still pretty fair.
Yeah. While the invoke effect for Shaman is one of the more powerful ones for sticking around in the game. When you do invoke, it's usually not quite as good as just playing a card that does not invoke if you're not thinking about Galakrond at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're able to play Dragon's Pack on turn 5, it's generally a game where you haven't been like snowballing the game too crazy in the beginning. That's why we think it's kind of okay if you end up playing Dragon's Pack on turn 5. You've been doing some stuff that's relatively lower power level, but when you're playing this card later in the game, that's kind of when I expect it to be played more likely.
I quite like the Bat Rider. The Bat Rider might fit into Quest Shamans right now. It has a pretty powerful battle cry effect. I think this is quite similar to the Bomb Lobber, which is one of my all-time favorite cards, because you have to always weigh the odds and the risk in the game. How many minions do I clear to increase the consistency of it? It's more behind the scenes than you might think. Troll Bat Rider is more playable, being 4 and dealing 3, because a lot of the time when you need to kill minions, they don't have as much health when you're in that desperate situation. Battlecry Shaman?
Absolutely. Well, back to the question I asked before. How do you feel? So this is the final Galakrond to be revealed for the set. This compared to the other 4 that we've already showcased. Thoughts?
Well, it's quite well themed. It's a board-centric mid-range type of Galakrond. As you were saying, it just keeps you in the game more so because of the invoke ability. Even though a lot of the other Galakrond effects do affect the board. For example, the Warrior Galakrond gives you 3 attack. That's presumably to hit a minion with. Yep. You can still control the board pretty well leading up to playing Galakrond because they're all 7-cost hero cards. You have to make the turn 7 to actually get rewarded fully for committing to Galakrond. With Shaman, you're going to be able to do that a lot of the time. Maybe more so than the other Galakronds, in fact. Even with Warrior being able to deal with more of the board, you're taking that health damage. With Shaman, it seems like it's going to be one of the more consistent Galakrond decks because you're just going to get there into the game. From what I can see in this deck, at least, just about every time.
Sure.
Yeah, Corrupt Elementalist and I think Invocation of Frost are also 2 of the more powerful invoke just cards in general.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Let's jump into game 3. For the next game, we've got Reno Mage versus Galakrond Priest. So we'll see if Reno can, take on good old Galakrond. Yeah, maybe Keaton will actually play the Galakrond card. So, anyways, we're gonna let Crippen Dean take it away for Reno Mage versus Galakrond Priest. Let's take it away, gentlemen.
Well, you still get to kind of tease yourself with Galakrond, even in the games where you don't play him. More so than the Cthulhu-Vold, right? The Cthulhu-Vold is always, oh yeah, Cthulhu's a 6. Okay, he's an 8. He's a 10.
I'm here.
He's a 12. He's a 14. All right, we got Malygos. Now, I wonder if Malygos is powerful enough to keep in the opening hand. It's a dragon.
I think that we should keep it just for the sake of
I agree.
keeping it.
We can forget about the mountain giant. This is old news.
Old news. nice.
Yeah. We want new cards only. And we picked up Frizz. Wow, that's got to be a really good one.
Yeah. It's the kind of card that if you can play it on turn 4, there's some decks that don't really allow you to play a 4-mana 5/4 on turn 4. But if we're, like in this kind of matchup, if we're really playing against Galakrond Priest, it's going to be a little bit slower. They're going to try to generate tons of resources. So we're probably going to have time just to play a 4-mana 5/4 and make the rest of our game a little bit easier.
So unlike the Galakrond cards, this is new here. Disciple of Galakrond, 1 cost, 1/2, Battlecry, invoke Galakrond. Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. So we just cut away from the game here. I think we have, hold on. It's a new card, but we have seen this one. We were talking about Galakrond and how a lot of the Galakrond heroes and the invoke effects keep you in the game until you get Galakrond, with Warrior giving you attack, with the Shaman Galakrond card we just saw that gives you rush 2/1 elementals. The Priest Galakrond does not give you tempo on the board. So when you play Galakrond, he gets to destroy stuff, but when you invoke Galakrond, you get random Priest minions to your hand. So that's obviously a very powerful effect, but it doesn't lead to a situation where you're likely going to make it to the late game.
Yeah, I think the advantage to something like this is... Okay. And the advantage to the Priest deck, for example, as opposed to the Shaman one, is while the Shaman one keeps you in the game, and then there's minions that you can play, that you can buff, and maybe you can, destroy your opponent's hero pretty quickly. The Priest one has the advantage of it's really going to keep you in the game super late. Because if, say you're playing against Control Warrior or something like that, they're just removing all your rush minions, and they can remove your 8/8s at the end of the game. Like when you're playing Shaman, Galakrond's not really generating a lot for you going forward.
Deal 8 damage to a minion. Any excess damage continues left or right. Cool.
What do you think?
Burn stuff, I guess. All right. Well, we'll get there when we get to 5 mana, and we'll see how it's going to work out at that point. Now, I wanted to talk about Envoy of Lazul. My chat was telling me that the player who plays this is given an option of 3 cards, one of which is actually in my hand, which you guessed correctly, but 2 of which are otherwise in my deck. Is that right?
I
believe so.
Believe so. I know we changed some of the rules on that one pretty late. I think there's a lot of people on the team that worked really hard on a lot of the rules, and I'm not one of them.
So we get Splitting Image, Lunas, or Arcane Intellect. I'm going to take Lunas in the hopes that we have the new Mage card that if you're holding a dragon, you get to discount a spell to 0. That seems like...
I think Lunas is the one that's going to lead us to the spiciest outcomes.
Exactly.
And that's what we're here for.
Well, we had Lunas at 7. Not a lot of people played it. We had it at 5. Every single person played it. And now we have it back at 7. But now we have a card that costs 6 that can discount it to 0.
Yeah, I think...
That's the compromise.
Also, I think if you could pick the matchups being against very slow control Priest, I think that maybe a lot of people would, in fact, play it at 7 still. So we get to choose that as we discover.
So Frizz, we're making, just for the time being, we're making things cost 2 less until we do the Lunas. But I have faith that the card that discounts spells to 0 is in this deck. I'm going to wait for optimal value.
Okay.
All right. Now, while we're going to see Chalky play with the board, we have to consider rolling Fireball. 8 damage to a minion. Any excess continues to left or right.
A lot of times you're going to end up picking one on the very left or the very right, so you can guarantee that it's going to roll one way or the other.
So it does guarantee that then.
Right. So yeah, if we hit the left one, it will roll to the right, and if we hit the right one, it will roll to the left. But if, say, there's a third minion and it was in the middle, then it would be a random chance either way. So your opponent has a chance to play around it if they know it's in your hand, to some degree. But you can mitigate some of the randomness by trading and things like that.
So there is a Chrono Breaker on the other side of the board. We have seen this card revealed in the past. It's a 5-cost 4/5 dragon, and if you're holding a dragon, when it dies, it deals 3 damage to all enemy minions. Insanely powerful effect, but it is a death rattle, so you don't always get to control when it works off, and that is certainly in our favor in this game. We also know now that he has another dragon, though that should not be much of a surprise. So. All right.
Now it goes.
OP spells.
What do you want to do?
3 random mage spells, 4 cards, or 2 damage to all enemy minions.
So next turn we would have, can we draw 3?
I think we go with the draw just because we have Lunas for optimal spiciness.
Yeah, because I think that we can we next turn play Intellect and then play Mountain Giant? Is that the amount of cards that we have in our hand? Because we'll have 7, we'll go 8. I think we will, right?
Well, it'll cost 5. So I think do we mill one? I believe we mill one.
We mill one, but that's okay.
That's okay.
As long as it's not like...
Oh, we took our Malagos!
Wow. I think Keaton built these decks, so he said that this did have an advantage. Like,
seems a little unfair. All right. Do you want to mill one, or do you want optimal spiciness with Luna later? We can always do rolling fireball.
Rolling fireball is just okay.
Wouldn't kill it.
It's kind of like flame lance in this situation.
But we can kind of lead to a better learn draconic.
Yeah. That actually seems pretty good.
You like that?
Yeah, we can play learn draconic and then rolling fireball.
So I'm going to roll on the 3 just to reduce the amount of damage on the board. And yeah, I think I'll hit.
I think we may as well trade.
Yeah. Well, close to trade.
Close, yeah. Trade damage.
Trade damage. With the priest having a fairly non-board related Galakrond effect, and because he's playing Galakrond, he's probably going to be invoking a lot. Yeah. I imagine it's probably going to be pretty difficult for the priest to use a hero power while keeping up with our game plan.
It's going to be generating tons and tons of minions over time. Yeah. Our deck's not exactly
rather
like the
play new minions rather than heal the ones we currently have.
Yeah.
Spirit of the Dead. Okay. Give a minion Death Rattle, summon 2 copies of this. Grave Rune. Well, it's not that strong when played on a 2/8, but that can be extremely strong when played on other choice cards.
It's a really, really combo-y sort of card. Like, I know that people are going to come up with some really, like, crazy stuff to do with Grave Rune.
Of course they are.
It's the kind of thing that you look at and you're like, well, we know that you can do, like, Leroy sort of things with it. Alex Trouser, you should just play.
Yes!
We're going to get some cool cards.
All right. So we get cards from all classes, right? Yes, we got a warrior card. Now, do we want 5 armor or do we want 1 extra health in our Twilight Drake? I think we want 5 armor. Ember Scale, Twilight Drake.
Why do we have to choose?
Oh, we have other dragons. We have Caligos.
Yeah.
The dragon of old.
Yeah, we just play them both.
Okay, let's do it. Now, he has a lot of health on the board. I'm just going to do the face hit here.
Yeah, those 2/8s are not super threatening. Like, Malagos is actually pretty good when you're playing it against, like, mid-range or aggro decks. There's a lot of removal options, and plus the 2/8s is kind of hard to deal with. That was a big flame strike.
That was a little unfortunate.
That's okay, we still got stuff. We got stuff to do.
Okay. Well, we can do one almost as big next turn.
We could play
Explorer.
We could play Caligos and Pocket Galaxy.
You like that?
We're not really under a
We
ton
can
of
also
pressure.
Caligos and Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron.
That's more of a last resort, I think.
Okay, well, you're no fun.
Well, I mean, I want to play the rest of the cards that we have.
Oh, yes, we get to discover first. Unexpected results. So we do have some spell damage off the Azure Explorer here for potentially better unexpected results.
It's also good with Shooting Star.
Okay, fine. Let's do it with Shooting Star just to keep the board in control. And Lunas. This is always very satisfying.
Yeah, Frizz is less good now, but it doesn't really matter because all of our stuff costs 1. So that's kind of what you want when you're playing Hearthstone.
You don't play Frizz afterwards.
Yeah, it's generally in Hearthstone you want really big stuff and you want it to cost very little.
Oh my! Who's playing the Mage again?
It looks like it's Keaton. Well, he has the Spirit of the Dead in play, which is not something that started in his deck.
Yeah, and there's Galakrond. We actually got to see a Galakrond being played here. This is not a heavily invoked Galakrond, but even at its base, destroy 1 random enemy minion. When that minion is Caligos, I guess you're relatively happy.
It's a pretty big deal. It kind of goes to show that you don't really have to wait on your Galakrond to be like full tier every time.
What is that?
It's a giant. Giants are 8/8 and they cost 0.
No, but how much does it cost to begin with? Okay, let's play it.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, there it is on the screen. 8 mana.
Oh yeah.
So it costs 1 less for each card you've played that didn't start in your deck. That's a tough requirement, but it doesn't start with 12 mana or something like that, as some of the other more expensive giants do.
It's usually not costing 0 at this point in the game, but because we have
Let's draw.
Pocket Galaxy.
So this does not mill us. We do get the dragon in play, and everything we draw costs 1 in terms of minions. We got Tiamat, we got a Reno, we got a big ol' whelp. Let's just play a big ol' whelp because we get another card.
It's probably going to cost 1.
After you play 3 spells in a turn, I don't know if I can pull that off. The timer is being brutal here. Okay, let's just play the giants.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You can do it.
I can do it. All right. I'm not pushing my luck on that.
You want to just play Shenvala then?
Okay. No, we just played nothing. I'm blaming the mouse.
Okay. That was imaginative. Well, he only has 6 damage in play, so we should be.
It's not a lot of damage, and his hero power doesn't affect the board, but he has a lot of value, so we're going to have to try to crush the board at some point, but we probably can, seeing as we have Flame Strike, we have the Azure Explorer for spell damage, and we can actually use the Shooting Star in the same turn as well to clean
we
up.
can use all things. There's another Malik.
Oh my god.
So I think that this is still a clear, though.
Yes, we can clear, yes. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So we're going to do Azure Explorer. We're going to get a dragon. What are we looking for? What is the ideal dragon?
Probably not one of these, but
I already chose for you.
yeah, Deathwing's the one that we're pretty far behind. So I'm just putting ourselves in a place where we have an out if something goes drastically wrong.
I can't imagine anything will go wrong.
No.
Before Deathwing, we have Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron.
I think this version of Reno Mage is more like a traditional control deck, whereas before you were trying to play like very early minions and like Conjurer's Calling them, and then play things like Pocket Galaxy, especially after the Boomsday buff patch hit. And I think this version is you're just trying to play Reno to clear board and eventually play your big minions and win the game, sort of just in a traditional kind of control way, which is actually a really fun deck.
I mean, I don't... the Lunas that we got, I think, was a generated spell.
Yeah.
But Luna seems like a pretty good fit for this deck.
Yeah, it can definitely fit. I mean, I think we're seeing most of the benefit just because we're playing against something that is very, very slow and control-y. But it still could fit in this deck.
All right. Should we try to build a board with Shenvala? I think that might be fun.
Yeah, do we have enough stuff? I guess we have Ray, so...
Yeah.
That is...
I mean, I don't know. Do you have faith that we'll need much more than that?
We're just gonna kill it.
Oh, we're just gonna kill it.
I guess we can just fire the other Ray on... So...
No, spell damage is a problem now. Okay, fine. I'm doing it. I'm gonna freeze the whelp. Freeze the whelp for a 5/5. But more importantly, we get to do Shenvala effects.
Yeah, Snow Elemental.
Oh, the horror.
Probably, we don't want to play Reno. I think that, like, Tiamat's probably the one, right? It's like Divine Shield.
I'm thinking so, but because I don't know all the cards in the game right now, I worry that something really bad is about to happen to it. I'm gonna do a Wind Fury Divine Shield Tiamat for optimal push.
Oh yeah, there was a card, right, that we were looking at that got revealed today. That was a priest card. I wonder if he's gonna play it.
Which one's that?
Well, I don't want to tell you now.
Oh,
it was
that
this
one.
Yeah,
it was that one.
Yeah. So this is gonna be pretty good. He's gonna play a lot of cards because you played a lot of cards.
Yes, that is a problem.
Is he gonna freeze the minion like you did?
He's much better than me.
Or is it just me?
So that's pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I think there's always going to be some decks out there that are doing some mana cheating and playing a whole bunch of cards in the same turn. So Murazan is particularly good against that kind of deck. But I think even in turns where you're just like playing one big minion at a time, like Murazan can come down with the big minion, and that's just kind of good.
Oh, this is a bit interesting. So, if you have the ultimate faith in Yogg-Saron, we can unleash the puzzle box. But if you don't, we can always just Frost Nova. I guess.
I think that we should Nova. I have faith in Galakrond, but I just want to give Chalky the most possible hope and then take it away from him, like, at the end.
I guess. All right. Well, he can't actually heal, so I'm thinking that we just hit face, and then we pray for Puzzle Box or Deathwing or a better Reno next turn.
Seems fine.
Okay, let's go. Would you play Reno here? I don't think I would. That could only end in disaster if he actually has a heal, I feel.
Yeah. I think we just don't play it.
Skip it. We're still in pretty good shape. Like, we have quite a bit of damage here. We have the Deathwing insurance policy. If I go with insurance, I pick Deathwing insurance personally.
I think that we're actually in a pretty bad spot. We can't really kill our opponent. They have way more resources than us.
But we have Deathwing.
We do have Deathwing, but that's just going to give us less resources.
All right.
Unleashed.
Hold on a second. Death Rattle, add arcane missile spells to your hand. Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's an amazing one-drop minion that gives you some value. I like to call these cantrips.
Yes,
To give you something.
Lots of people in card games like to call these card cantrips.
This is quite a lovely one.
Yeah, Arcane Missiles is a card that you just kind of want in some decks. There's been like a bunch of decks that play like Sorcerer's Apprentice and that sort of thing.
So there's two ways that I feel we do this. We either go face and Puzzle Box, or we go face and Deathwing.
I think we go face and Puzzle Box.
Okay, good call.
Unleashed.
Chat will approve of this.
Yeah, because then we can't play Puzzle Box if we Deathwing.
Exactly.
It's a problem.
That's a problem. Wasn't sure we cleared this. Well, that's a good start. That's maybe less good.
That's very good.
That is very good. Being at 13 health, if we can actually manage to clear this board at some point, hopefully in the sequence of the Puzzle Box.
That was pretty sick too. Okay.
Less sick.
That was very good. That was very good. That was
Still
very
need a little bit. Ow! Okay, no. And we're dead.
We are. Maybe he'll miss it. Maybe he'll think it's a barrier and feel the need to clean.
Well, if it is barrier, he'd only have to clear one, so I think we're going to get hit in the face immediately.
I think so. I think if Keaton was really trying to win this game. It is pretty dicey, though, because there's
new side quest. Elemental Allies.
Oh, nice.
Play an elemental 2 turns in a row. You have to play it, not summon it.
Yes.
Play an elemental 2 turns in a row, and the reward, draw 3 spells from your deck.
Yeah.
Very targeted draw. Now I gotta go back and see what cards that have just been released for Mage or Elementals. But I think we'll get just this opportunity here in a moment.
There's some Elementals that Mage is kind of already playing, like Mana Sacred Cyclone.
Well, I think that the new Wonder is an Elemental.
Look at you with all the quests, man. Welcome to Hearthstone. Look at this. All these cool 100 gold.
Keep getting more and more quests.
All right, so there's only one card we did not see. It's actually not in the deck that we had. It was actually in Chalky's deck.
Oh.
I'm not sure if it's a priest card or a neutral. I can't remember. Whispers of Evil is the name of the card. Whispers of Evil.
Whispers of Evil. Add a lackey to your hand for 0. I thought we'd stop making cards that cost 0. This is going to destroy the game.
we're not nearly done making 0 cards. Like,
Okay.
Priest, for example, has been playing... there was like Nomi Priest that played a whole bunch of 0-cost cards, which I think is actually pretty cool with stuff like Auctioneer. Priest is supposed to be one of the classes, along with Rogue, that does a whole bunch of like tempo-oriented things. So being able to combo a bunch of cards together. We had... Add a lackey to your hand was just like a cool design that we wanted to do. We had it at 1 for a while and just wasn't really something that you would ever do at once. We ended up making it 0. And I think now it's going to fit in some of those decks where you just want a whole bunch of cheap spells. If you want to play things like Auctioneer, gives you some more room to be able to do that.
I think it's just a pretty good card, actually, because the Warlock Discover a lackey at 1 mana is pretty fairly budgeted. You get to choose, which is pretty valuable. But at 0, you're going to get a good tempo push no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that's like... give a minion +2 health or whatever. It's not exactly something that you want in some circumstances. So the fact that it's not like Discover, there's some downside there. And like you don't really get to depend on what you get, but for the most part, lackeys are very valuable in terms of like being a 1-drop, more valuable than most 1-drops.
I think the best part about that card was actually the flavor text.
Oh, I missed it.
Oh, you should go back and read it. It was pretty great. It's talking about Lazul doing ASMR, and that's why, like,
Madame Lazul's ASMR program is off to a promising
It's pretty
start.
great. So far, flavor text of this expansion's pretty
Like
spicy.
I said, written by someone funny somewhere on the show.
Well, people will get to check out all the flavor texts starting tomorrow, because even though you can't get the cards right away, I think they're going to be updated in the client, if I'm not mistaken.
They will be on the
Very
website.
likely.
So they're already on the website as well. And now, granted, I don't know if we have the flavor text on the website, but you can actually start deck building right now if you wanted to. Technically, we have a web deck builder on playhearthstone.com where you can start taking the Descent of Dragons cards and building decks of your own at home, which is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So for elementals, we have Shinvala, we have the Mountain Giants that were included there, and the Violet Spellwing. I think we're going to see lots of Violet Spellwings.
Yeah.
I think most Mage decks are going to start with this card in the foreseeable future. It's just that awesome cantrip that holds the board and does something later.
Yeah, I think for like really aggressive decks are just trying to do this kind of thing anyway with Sorcerer's Apprentice and do combos with Mana Cyclone and that sort of stuff. And even for late game decks, so you have a minion and then you also have like access to some a little bit of removal. So it's pretty flexible.
Now, there is one deck here that we haven't played, and it's called Pirate Warrior.
Yeah, people love Pirate Warrior.
They do?
So, yeah, so
Okay.
we really
Let's
want
see.
Is it back? I mean,
it's back in a new flavor and it doesn't have patches. But
I think everybody's like, whew, okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah,
Is there like a new card that's very much like Patches?
we wouldn't do that. So.
Okay, well, cool. We've got Pirate Warrior versus Treant Druid. Let's see who gets the W.
I sure do it a lot. A
believe
lot
in
of
you.
people are really excited. About
I'm pretty excited, actually.
about the new Druid hero. Did you see the new hero?
I must protect.
Oh, yes, the hero skin.
Yeah,
Yes.
the new hero skin.
Yes, of course. I did hear it was all the rage.
Oh, there's Ankar.
Ankar.
That's the one that's not like Patches.
Okay. I imagine playing Ankar in like every warrior deck, just because it's such a strong card. Even if I didn't plan on playing Pirate Warrior, just put some pirates in there and use Ankar just to thin the deck some.
Yeah, it depends. Like obviously, like there has to be some amount of pirates that you're pretty excited to play.
And we have Sky Barge, which is a new one. 3 for a 2/5. It's a mech. And after you summon a pirate, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. So this is like Ship's Cannon, but better, and it's a mech.
Yes and no. I mean, the difference between 3 mana and 2 mana is a pretty
Substantial.
big one, but
It's a lot of health.
yeah, but yeah, the health is also a huge difference. So it's a different flavor of Ship's Cannon, but very similar, obviously.
So we're going to do the strategy of we keep the cards that are new.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a good strategy if you're trying to show off new cards. Reinforcements. It's the 1 mana 2/2.
I'm actually pretty excited about this card. We're not going to have a turn, but we're going to rope Chalky regardless. We're going to talk about reinforcements here. So the reason I love this card is I've seen Druids play Black Knight in the past, and this allows you to give your opponent's minions taunt as well. So you get the flexibility of getting a better Black Knight. You get an early game push, which is what Chalky did here, which is a Treant. So you get synergy with the new Legendary, which is the 7-cost 5/10 taunt that buffs your Treants permanently by 1, possibly more if you play it again and again.
There's some like strange circumstances where you might like have a minion that's really valuable behind taunts, and then you give it taunts so you can get to it as well. This is like a rare circumstance for sure, but it's definitely something that can happen.
Might not be too rare, actually. I feel like there's more than ever minions that really need to be killed.
Yeah, a lot of them are just very large, so...
What's this? Parachute Brigand. 2 for a 2/2. After you play a pirate, summon this minion from your hand. Now, we talked about patches.
yeah, this is from your hand, not from your deck. So very, very different.
So we're going to Ankar here, because we want lots of pirates, because we have the Sky Barge, and we probably want to just unleash the pirates as soon as possible. Let's see what we get. Will we get a new card? We will not.
Southsea Captain is an old card. Southsea Captain is one of my favorite cards in history. I think mostly, though, because of the golden version, because he spins the little wheel.
Wow.
It's really, really good.
Do you stare at the wheel spin?
It's my favorite golden card. It's really cool. He just sits there
actually...
and looks so, pleased.
Are you a big fan of Golden Sea Giant? He also spins his wheel that he has on his belt.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, you might have a new favorite
Golden
card.
Southsea Captain, though.
Oh, man, we have 2 of them.
That's actually pretty sick.
Okay.
I think you just have to do it, right?
Southsea Captain?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, let's see what else we
You
get.
could Sky Barge and just really hold back.
So we have Horde Pillager. 4 for a 4/2. Battle cry, equip one of your destroyed weapons. That's insane!
That's insane in this circumstance for sure. Yeah, we can attack with Skybarge next turn and then play it. I think if we want to do the maximum BM here, we play Skybarge. He doesn't kill it, and then we just like...
What is the likelihood that he can kill it? I mean, it's a Druid on 4 with no board. We're probably looking at some options with Rush, perhaps.
It's like double Wrath, maybe. I think it.
Okay. Well, we're in good shape.
Yeah.
Evil Quartermaster. So you get a lackey and 3 armor. 3 cost, 2/3. Pretty strong stuff. Yeah. How do we want to do this
We could play 4 pirates. We could play Raider, and then those guys both summon as a result. Seems pretty good. Probably going to clear.
I'll do the Raider. And then next turn we'll do the South Sea Captain. I think we're definitely going to clear. It's just now we don't get to take any damage on our minions or on our face.
That was pretty insane.
Now there is a new card that steals a weapon. I believe it costs 5 mana.
Yeah.
What's the chance we run into that? Because I really want my Ankar destroyed.
I think that the chances that we run into that are pretty low, and then even if we do, that's not going to be enough for our opponent.
Well, chat will make fun of us if we do, so I guess that's a win.
Yeah. So this deck, I think, like everything sort of came together for us.
This is the high roll, basically.
Yeah, this is the game that you really want if you're playing Pirate Warrior.
Aeroponics. That sounds like an exercise. Draw 2 cards. Cost 2 less for each Treant that you control. Base cost would be 3, I guess? Oh, 2 less.
5.
5.
Yeah.
Oh, I see, yes. So it's discounted by 2 for each Treant you control. So it's normally a 5 cost card.
Yes.
Which is, you don't want to be playing it at 5.
No.
But at 3, that's an Arcane Intellect, which has seen play forever.
Yeah, and there's tons of ways to generate the Treants, so...
That seems quite strong.
Yeah, you can be playing it for 0 mana, like, pretty often.
Okay. So I want to play more pirates. Now, the only way I can play 2, I believe, is if I play the Captain and the Dread Corsair. I guess we'll do that then. We'll get the Captain, get the Dread Corsair, get some more... Are they cannonballs? Or are they sky barge balls?
I don't know what Skybarge balls are.
Well,
So I think they're cannonballs.
okay.
So this is going pretty well.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, like I was saying earlier, fans of Hearthstone really love Pirate Warriors. They're really good. This is actually a horrifying moment, I think, if you're watching the stream. Like, is this what presents itself in the next expansion? Is getting Skybarged like this?
You set me up to destroy trees.
That's true, yeah. Pirates versus trees. Now we know who wins.
Okay, you got to pronounce this one for me.
Shrubadier.
Shrubadier. Oh, wow, that's much easier than I thought.
It might be Shrubadier.
Shrubadier.
Yeah, Shrubadier. Wait.
Sounds like a pirate.
It sounds like a shrub.
Well, yes, of course. Okay, so I
think our opponent's dead.
Hold on, I'm just trying to figure out the math here. I believe we can set our opponent's hit points to 0.
I think that we should do it by re-equipping Skybards, though. So we take him down to 2 or 1, and then we play. Seeing this as it's coming, so it's not as PM.
I believe Skybarge has never hit our opponent in the face. I believe it's only hit minions. I think we've rolled like crazy.
Yes.
In addition to drawing really good cards, and synergy, and opening with Ankar, and reviving Ankar, and having South Sea Captain for all of our pirates, as well as the 2 free pirates that we got. We also got extremely lucky with every single cannonball.
Yeah, you're just a lucky guy.
Okay. Well, the other way to do this is just by roping out. What do you think of this play?
Yeah, this is pretty BM too.
It's pretty
BM. I want to hit him with the Ankar.
Okay, well, I don't know if I can do that in time. I actually didn't. I'm blaming that on you.
Yeah, so the mouse looked really slow there.
The mouse is pretty slow, yes.
Kip wasn't actually trying to do that. The mouse is just that slow. Yeah, there's a little bit of lagginess.
All right, Chalky, show us some new cards. Oh, we get to see the effect.
Yeah, the effect's actually pretty cool.
There you go.
It's cool. It's not that good against the full board of pirates, but still. Cool.
Well, we get to kill him with Ankar, nevertheless.
Okay. So Pirate Warrior was good.
Oh, what's that?
Add a random pirate to your hand.
1 cost 1, 2, and it's a pirate. Wow, that's insane.
It's okay.
Oh, we saw it at the end, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay.
That was one of the 2 that we did not
1
see.
mana cards.
Yeah, I mean, 1 mana 1/2. I think you just kind of like want pirates if you're playing the Pirate Warrior, but also you're an aggro deck playing a 1/2. There's some downside there.
So let's jump back into the Pirate Warrior deck. There's 1 card we didn't see. We could go back over Sky Raider, but there's 1 other card we did not get to. At the
Sky
top.
Raider.
It's actually the top 2 cards. So
Well, I want to look at Sky Raider first.
you look at Sky Raider, Cripperino.
Add a random pirate to your hand, and it is a pirate,
Yeah.
and it's a 1/2. Now, I've seen this trend where Warrior gets cards that can infinitely generate themselves. Typically don't, but I'm still waiting for that highlight. Like with the what is it, the Frightful
Flunky.
Flunky, that's right.
Yeah.
You can just get
a 2/2 tone.
forever
You
Frightful
can.
Flunkies.
Yeah.
And with Sky Raider, you can just the same way get infinite Sky Raiders.
You can. It's a little bit harder because it's not Discover, but you can. It is possible. You can get infinite 1/2s, which isn't really going to win you a lot of games, but it might get you some, Twitch highlights.
It's all about the highlight. That is winning.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
true.
the next level of
That's
winning.
true. That's true, yeah.
Well, this card also with Skybarge, as we just saw, we didn't get to Sky Raider, obviously, but that with Skybarge continues to just showcase the power of
pretty well.
Yeah, it keeps the train going of sky barge balls, as Crip would call it.
Okay.
As you never hit face once, though. The RNG was good with this one.
And the new card that we got is Blazing Battle Mage. So just the tempo 1-drop. Traditionally, it's been 1 mana, 1/3 neutral cards that have made it into the aggro deck lists. Now we have a 1 mana 2/2. We had 1 mana 2/2s in Druid with the Raven in the past, but that card was slightly better because it was a beast, though I don't believe it was in any way relevant at that point in time.
We have reinforcements now, too.
No minion type. Okay.
So I think a lot of the decks that are just trying to there's tons of aggressive decks that it's really, really important that you play a 1-drop on turn 1.
Yeah.
And I think when you're playing something that's hyper aggressive, Blazing Battle Mage might fit in. It's obviously not going to fit into a lot of this normal mid-range or control decks, but if playing a 1-drop is really important, just because you have synergies and you have buffs and you have just generating a board is really important, then this is something that might fit in your deck.
Now, you play a lot of aggro, and Hunter, I believe, is your favorite class.
I do play a lot of aggro decks.
How do you feel 2/2 versus 1/3 for the aggro list?
It depends. Like, if you have, say, if you're playing Hunter and you have cards that are Adapt a Beast for 2, then you're probably going to want Dire Mole and not a 2/2 Dire Mole instead.
Yeah.
If you're doing things that are really, really aggressive, you're just trying to sneak in as much damage as possible because you have cards you have weapons and fireballs and that sort of stuff, then maybe it's better for it to be a 2/2.
All right.
It also trades a little bit better with other 2-drops in aggressive decks.
Well, do we think this is the return of Pirate Warrior, boys? What do you think, Crip?
We certainly returned it to Chalky.
Yeah, we did.
We did. We really
He got the
did.
Ripperino on that one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, this was...
Did he have any cards that we didn't see?
Nope, he showed all of them.
Oh.
Every single one of them. So I think we're going to do one more game because we wanted to showcase Galakrond with Shaman, but I did real quick, just while we've got everybody here, before we go to the last game, talk about some stuff I mentioned in the beginning, but, we had the audio issues, so I'm going to repeat it here super fast. We've got the patch dropping tomorrow for Descent of Dragons. Now, the expansion doesn't actually come out until the 10th, but what this will do is a couple of different things. One, 23 wild cards that rotated into Standard will be removed tomorrow. Crip's happy about that. So what this means for you is that the decks that you have that do include those 23 wild cards will need to be adjusted in order to be playable again. So make sure after you download the patch to go in, adjust your decks, make sure they're okay, and then you can jump back into rank. The last thing is we have some Battlegrounds balance changes coming, and I'm not going to get into the weeds on those, but you'll see in the patch notes tomorrow. It's going to be pretty spicy, and but anyways, let's play one more game, boys. Let's get that Galakrond Shaman out on the board. Invoke it.
We're setting ourselves up for some disappointment here. We don't do it the second time.
It's going to happen, I believe.
It's just going to happen?
I believe.
Did we turn the knobs in the back to draw a Galakrond?
Chalky and Crip, I think, can use their mind powers together to, get to the right spot.
There is the new neutral card that allows you to pull Galakrond from your deck. I didn't see if it was included in this list, however.
Remember if it was in Shaman. I think it actually was, because this is the only Galakrond deck that we played on stream, from our side. Yeah, it is. Okay. So I'm pretty sure it actually is in this deck.
So I have the initial instinct to mulligan everything that's not exactly Galakrond, but I do want to keep the Corrupted Elementalist. What do you feel?
Yes.
Okay, let's
I feel
do
like
it.
that's exactly correct.
Okay. You know, the Mogu Flesh Shaper is actually quite stronger now that Shaman is generating all those minions on the board.
Yeah. So we have the Coin Corrupted Elementalist into Dragon's Pack.
Wow. That's pretty good. We got Bandersmash.
Yeah.
With a coin, we got a lot of flexibility because we can choose if we want to maybe do it on
We
the
don't
floor
have a
or
lot
on
of
the
flexibility right now because we're gonna totem. But our opponent's doing some pretty slow stuff.
Totems can be
So
strong.
it's okay.
They can be strong. Okay, that's rather good.
Yeah, every time I see a Power Word Shield and a North Strike player, I get scared. There's a Shadow.
Oh, I want it!
We're never gonna.
Is there like a freeze?
No, there's no freeze.
Can we add
only.
it?
No, Battlegrounds only.
Like a freeze over
Battlegrounds
here
only.
maybe, and then we click it for 0 and
We don't want to take
freeze the RNG?
We don't want to take the fun stuff away from Battlegrounds.
Okay.
Storm's Wrath's not very good here.
No, none of those are very good.
Could coin Storm's Wrath.
Oh, we can zap for 3 now.
We could,
Awesome.
but we're not going to.
No, we're not. Yeah, we really need something to play. Are there some legendaries that could get a discount? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I wonder if there's something that we
Like some
can...
Mountain Giant-esque thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is. I just can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure there is too, but I can't think of it either. It's probably some like very powerful thing that gets played right now. We can't remember. Chef Nomi, also not as good here.
We have Vicina, and we can overload, but it's the other minions that get buffed, and a 2/6 doesn't seem great against that board. I think I still want to hold out.
Yeah.
I want to hold out. That's not a good card because he's going to draw one out. Do we get to see if he was successful with the Envoy?
Does that mean he was successful?
I think that means he was successful.
Yeah, because he gets the card in
Do
here.
you think Chalky is stream sniping us? I believe he's 3 for 3 on this.
Absolutely. Extreme sniping is, yeah.
Oh.
He's sitting at his desk, I'm sure, just watching the entire thing.
Oh, okay. Relishing in the experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, we went 3-1, so...
Use your hero
He
power
stream
deal
sniped us
5.
and still went 1-3, which is kind of embarrassing, but, you know.
Alright.
So we're going to invoke twice.
Let's do it. Excuse me? Alright. I think we're just gonna drop the minion count the best we can.
yeah.
We can do the zap play, but that's gonna restrict next turn too
We
significantly.
really want to be able to play. What's the best legendary that we could get?
Oh, I don't know. My imagination does not see that far.
I see.
The best one.
Yeah, I was doing a playtest versus...
It's Kalagos, right? Because we get...
Oh yeah, Kalagos
free
would be
Dragon's Pack.
pretty sick. All right,
Yeah.
so we're gonna get Kalagos, and then we'll play Dragon's Pack.
Okay, I'm sure there's one's better than Kalagos. I'm sure there's a Reddit
Is
thread
there?
already. Crip was wrong. Kalagos is only the 7th best. Thanks, guys.
Kalagos is pretty sick. It's gotta be Kalagos. It's a 4.
All right, Reddit squad, you're on a mission. What is the best legendary that we can possibly get next turn? It is not this one.
It was Luciana. All right, so probably Dragon's Pack, right? It's
Well-
just they're enormous.
Yeah, they're
We're not going to do
enormous.
better than Dragon's
We're
Pack,
not
and we
gonna
should
do
probably kill the
North
Correct.
Shire. Oh, we get a different art, right? It's slightly
Spirit
different
wolf.
looking spirit wolves.
It's very cool looking.
Okay, let's kill the North Shire. Gives us a value trade as well, which is very important.
All right, on next turn, what's the best Bandersmash thing that we could get? Cenarius would be pretty sick.
You're assuming that we're going to keep all the cards right now. That is the strongest option.
I am assuming the best situation here.
Yeah.
That's the whole thought experiment.
Cenarius, there's got to be better stuff than Cenarius.
Vicina actually gives the...
Yeah, Vicina's quite good. We
pretty
get
good.
2 attack
We
on
could get
everything.
a 5/5 Vicina.
That's true, actually. But I would want a Storm's Wrath, I imagine. Time's up. Destroy a minion, invoke Galakrond. Invoking as priest is going to give him a random priest minion. It also seems like Galakrond grew a little bit. That's kind of cool. I didn't quite notice that because we were always just hovering over the card and covering up the Galakrond animation.
Yeah.
But Galakrond literally grows on the
Yeah, the animation is really good.
history.
That is actually pretty insane. I mean, it's not that great in this situation, but like it's pretty insane.
Divine Shield lifesteal, your healing is doubled.
Yeah, that's, you attack into it and heal for 10, which is pretty good.
I kind of feel like playing it, but I kind of feel like seeing what else we might get.
Yeah, I kind of want to see what else we might get.
Want to see what else we might get?
Yeah.
All right, fine. He has a Spirit of the Dead.
Again, yeah.
I don't think we actually care about that right now.
No.
I think we can deal with that later, perhaps. We can either do the Big Smork, or we can do the Corrupt Elementalist. I kind of want to do Vicina, because we'll be overloaded for next turn as well.
Yeah, and then that means our Corrupt Elementalist is going to, like, if Vicina lives, we'll have fresh minions there.
Do we want to do Storm's Wrath now or next turn? I think next turn.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Let's do it. Alright, let's just get his health to 0. I believe that's the most effective way to win in Hearthstone.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
By far.
Well, I don't know. Mechathune has a few things to say about that.
Huh. So next turn we can get Alex Strauss and just kill our opponent.
Or we can just get like...
Or we can just get Caligos and get the Pyroblast.
I'm pretty sure we can actually just kill our opponent.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That's right. Destroys 2. He doesn't kill Vicina, but I guess that's fine. So Galakrond was invoked twice. This is the second form of Galakrond. Destroy 2 random enemy minions. It would go to 4. We got Goru the Might Tree.
It's a 5/5.
For the rest of the game, your Treants have +1/+1. How generous.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think we're just killing some stuff here. Like if our whole purpose is to play Galakrond and win that way, then
well, let's see what we get off the Slurper first, right?
we get a Draconic Lackey. We whiffed. Oh yeah, I forgot. Our rush minions are going to be 4 attacks. That's something really good.
Yep. I'm gonna make them again and hit for 5.
Yeah.
I kind of want the value trade here.
Yeah, I think so too. Getting the value trade and having just both 5/2s up, I think is probably.
Do we want him to potentially draw Scale Rider? I think a 1-mana Scale Rider might be better than some of the other cards in his deck in the late game.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Okay, let's do it.
Hey, isn't it the opposite?
No, I want him to have a Scale Rider rather than...
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no.
It's okay.
Who's counting?
Yeah. So we have a bunch of minions in play, and they all have a bunch of attack, and we're overloaded. We have overload cards in our hand to activate Vicina, like.
And there's a good chance that we lose all of them. Yes. I believe this is the Kronk's Searching for Galakrond card. If you are already Galakrond, you unleash a devastation, which includes that one.
So we draw Galakrond, which is good.
Annihilation.
It's not as good here.
No.
We could give it Rush and kill that thing. I guess we could kill it with Batrider as well.
I kind of like the Batrider.
Yeah, Batrider, and then we just summon a totem. And then next turn we can just play Galakrond.
Oh, you want to just deal with it later?
No, I think that we should kill it this turn.
I was going to kill this turn.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm impressed by your usage of the mouse. It's actually been pretty clean. There's only that one time where you messed up.
It's just a little slow, because we're a bit far from, I think, the computer we're playing on.
Yeah.
The signal's a bit weak.
Yeah, but
I'm managing.
I can barely tell, yeah. I feel like you've been...
I have used one of these before.
You've been using mice for a long time now, I feel like.
The majority of my life, actually.
Yeah, same,
sadly.
same.
Okay. We do have a fully peaked out, invoked Shaman Galakrond.
Wow, that's actually insane, though. He just grave ruined that, which means it's just going to death rattle basically forever.
So when this dies, he gets 2 of them?
Yeah.
And it's pretty fair to assume he has a dragon in his hand right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have Verisa Windrunner to get Star's Fury, which is the spell damage weapon.
Yeah, in some circumstances that might be insane, but not really in this one. Yeah, so do you want to totem first?
Yeah, let's totem first.
We totem, play Galakrond, and then what, just do nothing?
No, I think I'm going to hit him in the face for 5.
Oh, well, yeah, hit him in the face for 5. So then he's got this death rattle minion. It's value-wise, like having a 4/5 that deals 3 damage to your opponents is really insane, but here we can kind of see the downside of.
Actually, why did we totem? We could have Galakrond's Fury. I guess either case they're dead. We wanted a taunt totem. That's why we totemed.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why.
We're kind of running out of cards, but this deck does certainly have, and this Galakrond theme has, the power level to keep up with an aggressive deck. Falling off against a control deck, I guess, is not much of a surprise.
No, yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. I think you're seeing the duality of these different. There's the fireball and then the invisible crossbow.
Scale Rider.
Yeah, like I said, against a bunch of like tempo mid-range stuff, like I think the Shaman deck's going to be like really good. And then against the more controlling-oriented stuff, we're seeing the power of what the Priest Galakrond can be like when you're just generating stuff.
Oh, did I mess that up? I think I did mess that up. Okay. Well, I'll just play some stuff. Hope it works out. I could have Mogu down one of them, then use the weapon, then use Geddon. It still wouldn't have been great, though. But it'd be all right.
Yeah, I think it's be fine too.
We're fine on the board, but I think we're going to run out of cards.
This is your time.
Morzan again. Morzan seems quite good.
Especially like in my game scenario, a lot of times they can just be like an 8/8 along with some smaller minions or something.
That's a pretty hard card to counterplay too.
Yeah, it is.
Don't have any good turns.
Don't play stuff. Don't do that.
All right, Surging Tempest. We got Gonk.
Gonk's not what we really wanted to see.
No, it is not.
So can we live? We can't, right?
No, it looks like we're dead. Maybe if we play Gonk, he's like, oh my god, I gotta kill Gonk.
Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen.
So we really should have went with a Lifesteal Divine Shield one. Thinking back.
Yeah, in retrospect, that probably was the better thing to do.
And we could have killed the first 5/5.
Yeah, that's okay.
But it does make sense that we give one to Chalky because he's probably feeling pretty sad after these games.
After going 1-3 WoW stream sniping, like I said, that really puts him in a rough spot.
Oh, we get 2 full Gonks. I think that's pretty good.
All right, well,
that's fun. We got to play Galakrond.
Yeah, we went 3-2. We got to play some Galakrond. We revealed all the cards basically at this point. So
every single one of them.
Yes.
We did. Chat was asking for a Galakrond emote. I was gonna say we should do it, but
we missed the
Galakrond emote. But hey, we got the card because we were like getting
art.
to the end of the deck,
cool.
and we didn't see it. And I was like, please, please.
That's a nice defeat screen.
It is.
Isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
You
defeated, looking staring into the eyes of Galakrond it's not that bad.
Is this the true Ripperino?
You get the clouds, and he's got the lightning theme. Like
it's very handsome.
This is the true Ripperino.
Very handsome dragon. Very small arms, but handsome.
No, they're
was
not
the first
small.
thing I
It's the rest that's so large.
Oh yeah.
Glass half full. I like it.
Cool.
It's cool. Well, cool. Well, that wraps it up for the gameplay. Crip, before we leave, any last thoughts? Expansion's looking pretty spicy. We got to see some really cool cards. 32, the most we've ever revealed for an expansion reveal stream ever, by the way. But what do you think? Thoughts?
Pretty cool. I mean, I want to play Galakrond decks. I want to play more Galakrond decks. We actually don't have audio over here. I imagine they heard and saw the full experience, the full dimensional experience of playing Galakrond.
Absolutely.
I have not. I need to experience this.
Soon.
Soon? How soon?
Soon, like after the reveal stream soon.
Well, how about that?
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Well, cool. Well, folks at home, so there's a couple other quick things I really wanted to call out. So, number one, we're actually going to be doing our theory crafting live streams right after this. We've got a couple streamers that are going to be going live for a short time to showcase Descent of Dragons in its entirety. Crip will be one of them, playing here from HQ. It's going to be super cool. He'll finally get to hear those spicy Galakrond audio and animation things. It's going to,
all I'm going to play.
All the things.
Only Galakrond
All the
decks.
things. So that's going to be good. Again, remember, that patch drops tomorrow as well. 23 wild cards rotate out. Your decks will need to be readjusted. The Battlegrounds balance changes are also coming in. The fireside gatherings that you can set up, open up your packs with some buddies, set it up at your house, battle it out, meme it up, have some fun, will happen on Friday. And then the patch actually drops Tuesday, December 10th. So lots of stuff coming. It's Hearthstone packed weekend. We hope you're as excited as we are to finish up the Year of the Dragon with Descent of Dragons. And we thank you so much for coming out yet again. We love you all. And thanks so much for hanging out with us. And we'll see you soon.
Thanks. Bye.